Hello class. This week, week 7, we are going to be drawing a pre-engineered metal building. There are 3 parts to this assignment: a overall building layout or section, a wall section, and a SketchUp 3D view of this detail at eve. The key to drawing this assignment is being very accurate with your dimensions and accurate with your drafting. So the best way to start about this drawing is, or this assignment, is to start with this drawing, the overall building layout here. We are going to be replicating this small drawing. However, we are going to be using the dimensions from our pre-engineered metal building design. That design includes a building width of 120 feet. That is the outside to outside dimension of the concrete foundation. The nominal building height is 14 feet, and we are working with the F design. We're going to use that for dimensions A, B, D, G, H, and J and K, which are in our wall section over here. So we are going to use those designs to get those dimensions. Our drawing, our first drawing, this building section, is going to look exactly like the small diagram, with one exception in that, well, with several exceptions. The first being the dimensions that we will put in here will not say A, B, D, G, H. They will be the actual dimensions that we will find from page 3 on the handout. As well as our design, the rafter, the roof rafter, is split in the middle like it is over here in the wall section. So the top flange of the rafter will be straight, but the bottom will be tapered on either side of this split. So to get started drawing this, we're going to look at, again, our overall building layout, and we first have to take these numbers, the building design numbers, and look at the catalog sheet. So we know that our building height, our width is 120 feet and the height is 14, and we're F design. So we come down here to our catalog cut sheet. We find our building width, which is this first column here. All the way down at the bottom we find our 120 feet. It's kind of hard to see, but the bottom here is 120. You can see here the second column is our nominal building height. So within here we are going to find 14. And you can see here up at the top we have 2 sort of overall columns of E design and F design. We were using the F design, so we are going to come down here to 120, 14, and F design. And what we are looking at here are these dimensions. So I recommend either printing this sheet out or at least writing down these numbers, because you're going to be referring to them often as we draw this, this first building. So let's take a look at our overall building layout, and let's start with the building width, because I always say start from the bottom and draw your way up. So let's start with the building width, which is also going to establish our finished floor line, because everything here is measured. All the A, B, H, and K over here are all measured from that finished floor line. And we know that width is 120, so I'm going to go into AutoCAD. I'm not going to worry about the colors right now. Actually, I'm going to draw them in cyan because they show up better. And I'm going to draw a 120-foot finished floor line to start. My second line that I'm going to draw, well, I'm gonna draw 2 offsets. I'm gonna do A, and H. And I do these in steps. I don't do all of these offsets all at once. I could also do K because that's a vertical offset as well. However, it starts to get confusing which line is which. So I'm going to start with A and H as an offset. So A was 10 feet 9.5 inches, and I'm going to offset that. So that's A right there. It's a vertical dimension from the ground line. H, which is our peak, is 24 feet 2. So I'm going to offset 24 feet 2. I'm going to offset up. Now I'm going to point out a couple of things. One, a lot of these dimensions go to places that don't actually exist in the building. So H, for instance, is coming up here. Oops, let me go back here. H is up here at the peak, or what looks like the peak, but it's not really the peak. It's where the bottom face of our roof panel, so these are our roof panels, where the bottom face of our roof panel would meet at the center line of the building or at the ridge. So it's not really the top of the building. And same thing with a lot of these others. These are points. Let me zoom in here. So D is coming where our rafter is meeting our column, and it's that corner in there. It's not where these two plates meet, it's in here. So this point really doesn't exist in the building, but it's what the design is based on. So keep that in mind when you draw some of these lines. So we have A and H drawn, or the offsets drawn, and we know where they're going to now. So A is there and H is up here. We also know that our roof slope is a 2 and 12 roof slope. And our out to out, our building outside is 120 feet, which is the length of this line. So I'm going to draw a vertical line up on this side. I'm also going to draw a vertical line in the center because I'm only going to draw one half of this building, and then once I'm done, I'm just going to mirror it. It's going to save me a lot of time. So what I want to do now is get the roof slope in here. So if I look at this image here, this line here, again, I can draw a point or a line from H at the roof slope down, and that's going to give me the bottom of my roof panel. So this line here is H, and this is the center. So where those two meet, I'm simply going to draw a line out 12 feet and down 2 feet, because that is going to give me a 2 and 12 roof slope triangle. And then I just come right back to the beginning and finish my line. I am going to just go ahead and delete those two lines. Now I'm going to extend this line to here, so I'm going to select that line and extend that line out. Now, again, pay attention here because that line represents the bottom of my roof panel. And if you look here, the top of the roof panel, or the extreme outside of the building, which in this drawing over here is represented by the dashed line, is offset. It's the top of the roof panel, and the roof panel is 2 inches thick. And this other line in here represents the top of my roof rafter. And as you can see here, that is 8 inches to the bottom of that line I just drew. So I am going to offset 2 inches to the top of that line and 8 inches to the bottom of that line. So offset 2 inches up, and then offset 8 inches down. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my H line now. I don't need that anymore. I'm also going to come to the center line and clean things up. So I'm going to, if I zoom in really far here, you can see that this line, actually that line meets, but this line does not meet, and then this line needs to be trimmed. So I'm going to clean that all up. I know that this line represents the outside face of my building, so I can fillet this line and this line together, and that's the extreme exterior of my building. And now I can draw in my column. So I have the height A, So that's this here, but I need D in order to get this point. And D is a length that is 113 feet 1.5 inches. And it is the overall, but centered. So I'm just going to change my color here. And I am going to just draw a line nowhere in particular that is, sorry, what was that? That was D. So D is 113 feet 1.5 inch. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move that line using its midpoint, and I'm going to place it on A. On, again, the the center of our building, the line representing the center of our building. And you can see here that the edge of this line now represents this point where A and D meet. So to draw this leg in here of the column, I also need to come down here and get G. So G is the overall distance from the inside face of this column to the other column on the other side of the building. So just like I did that one, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to draw a line, and G is 116 feet 9.5 inches. And then I'm going to move that line using the midpoint, again to the midpoint, but now at the base or the finished floor line. So now I'm going to switch back to this layer, and I can just simply click there and click here, and now I have my column taper in. I can get rid of these two reference lines now. I don't need them anymore, and I don't even need this one. I also don't need this one, so I'm going to get rid of that, because in my overall building layout that line does not exist, so I don't need that anymore. I do need to get the back side of this column in, and that one's pretty easy because I can come right here to my wall section, and I see that it is spaced from the outside to the outside face is 6.5 inches right here. So that's just a quick offset of 6.5 inches. So again, I can clean that up using the fillet command. And now all I have to do is get the bottom line of my rafter in. But again, keep in mind that it is going to break in the middle here based upon our F design. So now I need to figure out where J and K meet to find that point. And I also have to figure out B. So let's go ahead and do B because that's the simplest. So that's an offset. It's a vertical offset of 21 feet 7.5 inches. J, if we look at the drawing, is perpendicular to our roof slope. So to do that, I am going to come in here to these two lines, and I'm going to start a line here, and I'm going to snap perpendicular. And if you don't have that turned on, you can turn it on in your O-Snaps menu here, or you can simply type PERP. Then I can offset that line, the J distance, which is 29 feet 4.5 inches. And where that line meets K, which is a simple offset again, offset K 17 feet 3.5 inches. And what I will do is extend that to there, and that's where J and K meet. So now I can simply join that point to this point and this point to B. So that was B up here. I can get rid of B, I can get rid of K, and I can trim this line down now to here. I can draw this line in, and I have drawn, and let me clean that up as well, and now I've got half of my building drawn accurately.